that time. At this time, I'd like to introduce our athletic director, Brad Duckworth.
Well, thank you, Tim, and thank you, everybody, for joining us this afternoon. What an exciting day for Pointer baseball and the Pointer family, Pointer community. We are very excited to be here and to this point. It's been a bit of a journey to get us here, and we are certainly very, very pleased to be sitting, even if it is virtually, with a lot of our players, our alumni, and the greater Central Wisconsin community. Let me get started with a few very important thank yous. First, I want to take the time to thank our Search and Screen Committee. Assistant Athletic Director, Associate Athletic Director Megan Wilson was our chair. Tony Baressa, Ryan Konitzer, Kelly Romano. We moved this search along in warp speed, and that had a lot to do with the hard work that the search committee did to get us to this point. We had a deep and very talented pool. And that has a lot to do with the work and vetting that our committee did. So thank you there. I also publicly want to say thank you to Coach Jeremy Jersley. Jeremy had been with the Pointers for 9 seasons, including some deep playoff runs in his time as an assistant. He spent 5 years as our head coach. And when we transitioned this program coaching position from full-time to part-time, that was part of the decision from a previous athletic director. Jeremy stepped into a really tough spot, a traditional powerhouse program nationally and in Wisconsin, and had to manage the program as a halftime coach, and did a phenomenal job for 5 seasons as our head coach. He made a choice and his family, Jeremy and Jenny and their 5 children, not to be part of the full-time search process. And we wish Jeremy and his family nothing but the best. He did a great job for Pointer baseball, and we wish him success in the future. You know, these are exciting times for Pointer baseball. Let me start by saying this. We were able to move this position from halftime to full-time in the middle of a pandemic because of the continued generosity of the Pointer Nation. John and Carrie Schultz are enormous partners of Pointer Athletics. John and Carrie came forward with a gift to help move this position back to full-time. As we all know, for Pointer baseball to be what it needs to be, we need a full-time coach. And John and Carrie had that same vision, and I can't say anything but thank you to them. That comes on the heels of the gift that Jordan and Mandy Zimmerman gave us 2 short years ago that have renovated the field. We have the best facilities in the WIC, and we continue to make strides forward. So we're certainly pleased, and we want to say thank you to John and Carrie and to Jordan and Mandy. Also, our continued alumni. I often have joked during this process. In the 4 years I've been here, I've probably heard from 35 to 40 alumni. In the time we've advertised this position in the last 6 weeks, I've heard from 35 to 40 alumni. They are involved with this. They're excited to be part of this. Our alumni are engaged, and that has a lot to do with the man that I'm about to introduce. When we got going in this process, there was a name that floated to the surface from several people, most of which were alumni who were part of some very historic times in Pointer baseball. I heard the name Nat Richter several times, and I hadn't met Nat. Nat hadn't applied, but there were people who know this program and know what it takes to be successful in this program who reached out to me before Nat maybe even knew we had an opening to say there's a guy out there that could really lead this program into great success. We opened the position up. Like I said, we had, I believe we had almost 70 qualified. We got that down to 3. And from the 3, we had a clear-cut person to lead our program. Nat was a player for us from 2002 to 2006. During that time, we made it through a regional and two World Series, including a 5th place finish in the World Series. Nat's playing career, we were 161, 69 and 1. To finish a period of time where you're almost 100 games over 500 shows what depth we had and what it takes to be successful here in Pointer baseball. As we went through the process, Nat came to this and showed what it takes to be successful as a head coach here. I was impressed from day one. There's no question. His work ethic is unmatched. I had people unsolicited from both Nat and myself, Division I head coaches, reaching out to me saying, I'm telling you, this man will outwork anybody that you know or could bring in. I'm proud today, through this pandemic, through this time, to be able to say that we've moved forward. The right guy. We have not found the right technology, but we have found the right guy to lead Pointer baseball. I am proud to announce our next head coach, Nat Richter.
Thank you very much, Brad. I really appreciate that introduction. I would like to thank you and the committee for all of your help through the process. And this was warp speed for you and a long process for me. But I was able to do it because of your help, and I really appreciate that. So thank you very much. I'd like to thank my girlfriend, Cece, for sticking with me through all this. And I'm not just talking about this process, but certainly the process of me being an assistant coach at many different colleges. So she's been there with me the whole time, and I want to thank her personally for that. The alums, you guys have been amazing. Just what Brad had told me, a lot of you had reached out to him personally to recommend me. And I had no idea that was going on, but it just shows the family and the commitment we had to each other while we played, and even 15 years afterwards. So for the alums that stuck their neck out for me, I really want to say thank you. That really did mean a lot. My phone's been ringing off the hook for the last month on the process, updates, where are you at? And it's because they care and they really want Pointer baseball to have success. So like I said before, that really means a lot to me. I'd like to thank Coach Bloom for kind of setting the guidelines of what this program can accomplish. His work ethic allowed me to play in the College World Series. And if anything, I learned that if you work hard, the results will come to you. So Coach Bloom, thanks a lot for that. I'd also like to thank Coach Bischel from Central Michigan, who I coached with at Northwood and at St. Norbert. You've been a huge influence on my coaching life, along with Coach Winsky, Coach Sable, Coach Tomaszewicz, Coach Deutscher, Jason Birkin, and the rest of the ISA staff. All the coaches I've coached with throughout the years have had some impact on my coaching life. And I appreciate all the conversations and the arguments and everything we've gone through together to get to this point. So thanks again to all you coaches. I can't tell you how excited I am to be back at Stevens Point. I've had dreams of being the head coach here since Coach Bloom left, and never thought it would actually come to fruition, but it has, and I'm really ecstatic to be back. I'm excited to be a part of this program again, and I'm excited to get to work and start building towards some successful seasons. And I know firsthand that Stevens Point can have success. It's just going to take a ton of work and a ton of effort, but I know that this Stevens Point community is a family, and we will come together to accomplish that goal. So I appreciate that, and thanks again for everybody.
All right, at this time, we'll open it up to questions. Matt Infield?
Yeah, Tim, I was going to say, can we just go whenever?
Yep, go ahead.
That, first of all, congratulations. Welcome back to Stevens Point. If I would have told you that when you were a player here, that 15 odd years later, that you would be the head coach of this program, what would you have said at that time?
Well, if you would have asked me my junior year, I would have said I was getting drafted. So I was going to be a Major League Baseball player back then. And then once reality hit and I was a senior, I knew I was going to be a coach. Now, coach at Stevens Point, I never expected that. So yeah, I would have been really ecstatic to have heard that news my senior year once I realized I was going to be a coach. So.
Nat, I'm not sure if you can hear me. Scott Krieger from WPCN Radio here in Point. What's it going to take to get the Pointers back up in competition with the Whitewaters and Lacrosses right now? You're not in the upper echelon at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously going to take hard work, but we already know that everybody else is going to work hard as well. So we're going to have to put a process in place that's a little bit different and uniquely fits us, something that we can execute together from a recruiting standpoint, from a pitching standpoint, from a defensive standpoint, from all the standpoints of baseball and outside of baseball administratively. We'll have a process in place, and we're going to have to execute that process and work really hard at it. And then the results will start to take care of themselves. So like I said, we can't just go try and do everything that everybody else does, because that may not work as well. So what we're going to do is some things a little bit different. And if our guys buy in, we're going to have more success.
Do you have an idea of your recruiting base, where you want to go to find players, or is that kind of wide open?
Right now, it's nice that I was just working at Impact Sports Academy out of Green Bay with Jason Birkin. They've got guys there, and I know them firsthand, so I can start there. Mike Thrun out of PTA down in Franklin is a good friend of mine and another alum. We've already talked about possibly sending guys up here that he may have that are fit. So start with that. I mean, there's other places, obviously GRB out of Madison. So I'm going to probably hit up the travel ball circuit first, since I was a part of it. And I know where the tournaments are going to be, where all the talent's going to be. I've got a few buddies who are high school coaches. I had a call from Joe Wixmansky, who is at Rhinelander. He's got a couple guys that could be potential fits. So we'll start with all the connections I know, and then we'll move forward from there and see what else we can get.
Are you open to multi-sport athletes?
If the athlete can show that they can do it in the classroom, then I think for sure. I know being a football player and a baseball player can be a challenge academically, but if they can prove that they can do that, for sure. We had football players at St. Norbert that also played baseball and were able to have some success. We had basketball players as well at St. Norbert, so I would be open to it, but certainly they'd have to be able to prioritize with athletic or academics and be very good at time management.
Brad, I'm wondering, can you give us any insight where we stand with, for that matter, winter and spring sports right now, or don't we really know?
Scott, I would only expect that you would ask the question. So thank you for that. We have been in long and lengthy dialogue about what we're going to do here in winter. The chancellors are meeting tomorrow, and we expect some sort of response from the chancellors tomorrow about what winter could look like. So stay tuned for probably another update again tomorrow on that. I think there's a path to play in winter. I think there are also some challenges. We have begun the conversations about spring sports. I am very confident that you will see the Pointers play in spring. I am not, obviously that has not been fully vetted or decided. But as we know, with the virus, being outside helps. And the fact that baseball and softball are medium risk sports certainly make it a little bit easier than trying to find ways to play hockey, basketball, wrestling, and so forth. So I'm fairly confident we will see Pointer baseball play. What it looks like at this point, Scott, what I can tell you is that we will not be taking a spring trip. Baseball nor softball will be heading to Florida. So at this point, we're going to try to schedule 40 games in the Midwest, which we know can be challenging. But that's what I know at this point. We should know more about winter tomorrow, and then we will be on fast forward about decisions with spring, moving beyond that.
Nat, that puts you in a tough spot, not knowing as far as recruiting for 1 year, and maybe just coming in here in the middle of December already puts you in a tough spot. But the cupboard's not bare technically, right? So you'll work with the guys that you have right now and see what you can put together. As Brad just said, looks like you'll have a season. Keeping our fingers crossed. So you'll have to put somebody out on the field here in 2021, Coach.
Yep, there's pieces in place. I've met the players in the Zoom. I've gone over the stats and the roster. Not super detailed, but there's guys that can play at this level for sure. I just think that we need a direction to go in, something that's simple, something that they can execute, and then we'll start building from there.
Have you had a chance to look at the diamond since your playing days and talk a little bit about the improvements that have been taking place down there?
Just drove past it on my way to campus to take a look. Scoreboard is looking nice. The netting is pretty nice, but I haven't walked around on the field. I actually plan on doing that after this, just to kind of see how things are looking, maybe reminisce a little bit. I don't know, but it'll be nice to take a look at that field again.
That we heard from Brad why he thinks that you are the right person for this job. Why, in your mind, are you the right person for the job, and what is the vision that you hope to create?
Well, I think he had touched a little bit on the work ethic. I'm not the smartest guy or the best speaker or anything like that. My goal is just to try and outwork and outgrind my opponents. That's what I've done as a player. If you would have seen me as a freshman, you would have realized why I didn't play for 2 years. And it took a lot of work and a lot of grit just to get me on the field by my junior year. So coaching is no different. I've just worked really hard at different things, and I want the players to kind of follow suit with that. We may not be the most talented team or the most flashiest team or the fastest team, but we're going to work the hardest. That's what we're going to do. And if that's enough, awesome. If it's not enough, we'll make adjustments, but we will not lose because we're not prepared, and we will not lose because we're not working hard. We'll only lose if we are out executed.
Last question I have on my end is just in your own words, quite simply, what is the Stevens Point community meant to you personally?
They've always rallied around Stevens Point athletics. It's been amazing as a player, and to watch it even as an outsider. The alum base is awesome. Like Brad had said, he got 35, 40 emails from alums. It's a family here, and I'm excited to be returning back to that family. I think that's really important for me to come home to that family atmosphere.
Nat, one last thing from me. Did Brad mention anything about fundraising? Are you going to be in line with having to bring some bucks in the door? Because obviously it's a tough sled for every coach right now.
Yeah, we haven't talked a ton about fundraising, and I know it's tough. I've got a few ideas. Me and Brad will probably bounce some ideas off of each other, and then we'll see what we can do from there. So,
Congratulations.
thank you so much. I appreciate that.